Hey Wargamers, Doug here from 2 Plus Stuff, and today I am hanging out and going to be doing some painting. Specifically, I thought we could hang out to talk about some news that's been going on in the community. Just kind of socialize with about whatever you'd like, whatever game system or anything like that. But I'm going to be painting up some minis by Parabellum for the game Conquest. Specifically, they have a new edition of their skirmish variant coming out, which is supposed to kind of elevate that game into its own kind of thing, with a focus on like scalability and stuff like that. That got me really excited because one, I like Conquest. I found recently like 4 or 5 people locally that are also interested, so we're going to set something up for game days. And I wanted to have some First Blood stuff ready to go. So we'll go to the downward cam here. And I do this thing now where I move my mic all around and flip it so I can actually talk to people with some level of clarity. And let me get the name of these guys. These are the Kami Ayakashi. And they are these sick looking guard dudes. Let me just get my chat popped out so where I can see it. Pop out the chat. Here we go. So you can see, very cool, very flavorful. Love the look of them. As far as the scheme goes, let me show you what I've been doing. So I'm loosely going off of the official paint scheme with some minor modifications, but here is another one of their demon type guys. So you can see, I didn't mean to do the edge highlights so bold. For some reason, like this paint usually fades really well, and it just didn't. So it just like stayed highly pigmented. So a little bit much there, but that's okay. It looks good. Right, not just good enough. And here is the accompanying daimyo to go with them. So I just wanted a simple black and white theme for his armor and the feathers. Sorry, for his armor and the feathers. But yeah, so that's kind of what I've been doing with these guys. I'm going to go kind of with the official scheme, which it'll be an approximation, not necessarily one for one. But something like this, where it's mostly red armor panels with the gold, or I can't decide if I want to do gold or copper on the core body parts. But we'll get there when we come to it. But I already laid the foundations out for the skin color, so we're going to start working up from that point. So, got my paints here. If anyone has anything they'd like to chat about, I would love to hear it. We are just starting. So you have not missed a thing. Let me get my screen back up. There we go. And what I'm going to start doing, I think, is laying down some colors. So, okay. Start here. And let's take some dark silver. There you go. So the thing I'm going to do is start with the kind of the metal brandishings on the under armor. Yeah, those are all red. Okay. Forgive me, I'm just kind of getting lost in some of the detail here as I kind of map out what I want to do. Let's start with the red. Actually, that makes a lot more sense. So I got here my burnt red by Acryl. And if you are painting and hobbying, I would love to know what you are working on today. So I just kind of have this cheap brush as a mixing one. And we can really thin these out because Acryl does a great job of adding a ton of pigment. So you can kind of have them be as thin as you'd like, and they will always work. Bristles were just a little bit dry. All right. Okay. I keep referencing the picture on the website that I have pulled up just because I want to get a sense of like what part's supposed to be gold or whatever. Not that I'm going directly off of it. We're going to deviate a few places. But I like to see how they block out colors, you know? Let's see, as far as other big things going on in the world of wargaming, so I already talked about Parabellum announcing sort of the next iteration of First Blood, which we're excited about. As far as some other beats to hit, I wanted to talk about, I recently came into ownership of a pre-owned and mostly painted Chaos Space Marine army. There's a lot of folks here locally that favor 40k over AOS, which is fine. Mainly because I just don't think this last GHB caught my local gaming group. I mean, they're a little bit more on the competitive side. And I kind of bounced off of it. The rules aren't bad. It just feels like too much. And I wonder if they're kind of feeling the same way. Someone expressed kind of a burnout. But anyway, my point being, so I grabbed an army for a game that people are playing. I did have my 1,000 Suns, but I inherited this, and it's like a fully ready-to-go army. So I was like, to heck with that. Let's just do this. Not gonna lie, I got excited from the thumbnail for this guy, and I thought they were custom Blood Bowl minis. Oh, like linemen? That makes sense. No. These are from the game Conquest. Either Last Argument of Kings or First Blood. They have two variants based off the same rules engine. But it's all by Parabellum. Man, this would make a massive Blood Bowl player, though. We actually have a local league going on here. I should jump in. I always just feel so intimidated by it, and I found it easier to get into before when there was a video game version that I could play and kind of like absorb the rules over time. But the problem is I now pretty much always play on my Mac, so my game options are limited. I know there's a new version, Blood Bowl 3, that's like up to date with the rules or whatever, but hey man, I feel out of the hobby for a while, but seeing you do this makes me want to pick it up again. Oh, well, that's expiring. Thank you. That just made my day. Yes, we are painting up some... if you're not into Conquest, the miniatures war game, basically the story behind these guys is, imagine if a bunch of demons got buried in the core of the earth and their memories got wiped. So they're trying to like rediscover who they are, kind of take form again. They're kind of without substance. And they start hearing a bunch of religious doctrine being kind of chanted from the world above. So they're like, what the heck is this? And so they start listening, and they start to take their form based off the religious beliefs of this tribe, who happens to have a sort of, we would say, Eastern tradition in terms of like the art style and stuff like that. And so we have demons that essentially look like the projected avatars of this particular civilization, because they only knew their myths and stories, not what the actual people looked like. And by the time these demons composed themselves and got their way all the way up to the surface to be free again, the people whose religion they copied themselves or mimicked or whatever were actually long gone. So they are the memories as well of a disappeared people. But it's why they have that look, which when I heard that, I was like, that's rad. The idea of a demon being like, we're going to ape a religion because what they call the path to enlightenment seems to be solidifying. You know, for humans, it's just disciplined lifestyle, but for us, it's like taking form. Like, ooh, gnarly. They look really sick. Oh, thank you. Knights of Notion 5. Cool stuff. Thank you. Yes, to me, the Uroni are perfect for First Blood, because there's only a few sculpts that really grip me. But the ones that do, I'm like, I really want it. They just previewed one in their newest campaign box that is a samurai pirate turtle. That's the form he took. And he's incredible. And I'm going to paint the whole mask red just to make sure we get all the nooks and crannies, but I'm going to come back and paint the eyeball white and everything. We'll do that later. The one on the website has like, for the mask, it has a cartoonish-y kind of white for the teeth. So I'm going to do that as well. Like they're not painted like bone, like real teeth. They're just kind of this. Yes, if anyone else is painting anything, I'd love to know what everybody else is working on. Even if you're not like at your painting table now, if you're just tuning in what you got going back at home. My life has basically been this. I just finished recording another hour-long Seraphon video. I'm trying to redo all of my AOS faction lore with long-form format style. Someone made a comment that my playlist section is an absolute abomination because I just, over the years, I keep making a playlist for every campaign and every army, and it just kind of blossomed into a mess. So I was like, actually, that's a good bit of feedback. So I'm gonna make one Uber playlist that has newer videos since 4th edition launched, since it's all updated and now I have equipment, and I can just have that on my home channel, and we can kind of work from there. Get rid of some of the older stuff. Not delete the videos, just kind of clear out the playlist section. All that to say, that's how I ended up here. Was I got done with my super long videos that sucked the life out of me to do. Not like in a negative way, it's just very tiring to talk for an hour and a half. And then I get to do the stuff where I like to do for fun. I'm currently working on Blood Bowl. I picked up a Peaky Blinders themed gnomes team. Nice! And I'm very excited to get them on the table. One gnome is modeled with a watch over his fist like brass knuckles. Oh, that's fun. Now, were they kit bashed to look like that, or like is it like a third-party sculpt that is Peaky Blinders themed? I'm curious. But that sounds like a lot of fun. I'm very happy for you. I think we got all the major panels on this guy. Here we go. So, okay. He's my favorite. I love him because he has the big one eye. He's the center guy on my thumbnail or whatever. But a close second is this one, whose torso cavity seems like he's about mid-sneeze. Let's see. It's a third-party sculpt. That's cool. No. I mean, Blood Bowl is a great place for third-party sculpts to really shine. Let's see. You are... Can leave most of his beard blank. He's going to get the same stark white beard treatment as the eyeball on the other one. See, he's an awkward one. Normally, when I paint, I start from the innermost part of the model and work my way out. For most of the mini, that is red armor, and then there's going to be trim and stuff like that on top. But for him, these little squares, I want them to be red. But the metal is actually underneath them specifically, which is a bummer, but that's okay. I had a plan, and now it is nothing. Seriously, what is the base size on these guys? I'm really loving the idea of making an Oni-themed Ogre Blood Bowl team. What are these? This would probably be... Well, I have a measurement thing here I gotta figure out. Their arms keep making it go. So they're just past 2 inches, whatever that is. I think it's a 60 mil. I could be wrong. If you want to see some other stuff, so not only do you have these kinds of Oni, right? Thick boys. My favorite, I'm actually saving for last, are these guys. It's your standard military grade bird person with a katana and a fan. And there's a variant of them where it's kind of the same pose, but they have bows. So imagine him shooting a bow out this way. They look so great. Yeah, they are a bit too big. I was thinking about that. I'm like, I mean, I know that there are some sculpts in Blood Bowl that are like more than just a square, you know, like the steam tank for the dwarves or whatever, but I don't think that they would quite... I mean, and there, he's got some foot overhang, so it's not like you can just slap him on a smaller base. But yes, he's chunky. So essentially, the way most of the game is played with models, and they're a larger scale than GW, but most of them actually stand on individual 25 mils. They're to scale and they stand upright, nice and tall. And you put 4 on a stand, it's called, like a little square thing. And so Conquest, the army game, is played with rank and flank, so that's why. And then you can pop them off, and you have these individual round bases to play the skirmish version. So that's why they market the game as 2 games in 1. So you buy models, you have stuff for First Blood, and unless you glue them or something, you can use them in both games. The reason I bring that up is because their army is unique in that they don't have any small guys. Everyone is what's called a brute, which is this size base, sort of like a... Well, it's the medium-sized bases for infantry stuff in the game. But it's the same thing that represents cavalry or, you know, a particular monster or something like that. Trying to think. They got some other really cool ones. There's ones that are like penguin warriors. Let's see. He's got this brass knuckly looking hand. I like that. I'm on the website now. These are fun. Oh, yeah. Yes, if you're looking, it's Parabellum. If you're ever interested, I have a link that'll save you 10% in my link tree. That would mean a lot to me, but there's no pressure to do so. If you want, I don't know what's going to be in it, but I do know that in February, they're, like I said, launching their new skirmish variant or whatever. I mean, it exists now, but they're relaunching it with new rule set, which makes it a good time to onboard. But my point is, I imagine they're going to have new box sets. And the way that they do First Blood boxes is it's like a smattering. They'll take like a unit of this sprue and a unit of this and kind of mix and match into like boxes that give you a bit of a variety. Not enough to make a full unit in the full-scale army game if that's what you're interested in, but perfect for just playing a little skirmish game, or in your case, getting Blood Bowl players. So if that matters to you, saving $1, maybe wait to see what that is, but I mean, they're great. The whole website has a bunch of fun stuff. You should definitely check out their Nords. But yes, there's no shortage of very visually evocative models. Also, I don't know if you go to a lot of conventions. If you ever see the Parabellum booth, go say hi. They usually like have a bunch of freebies just to say thank you for stopping in. They have tons of ways to do demos. I think the most fun booths at Adepticon every year are always Parabellum and Firelock Games, but they, because they do different things, right? The Firelock Games are historical game guys, and they are having an absolute blast every single time. Nords are who I'm checking out now. I've gotten older, realized mostly enjoy a lore and painting side instead of the gaming. Yeah, I find the two in tandem. I definitely enjoy the painting. But I find it also to be a great way to just socialize. Like, I don't do any like hardcore gaming. I'm not here to bring home any golds or whatever, but like, yeah, I have this. I worked hard on it. I'll pay you $15 to hang out for a day with a bunch of nerds and play some games. Which is exactly the social lubricant I use it as, right? Just like, yeah, why not? So the Braggin, are you familiar with Conquest stuff, or are you enjoying my commentary on kind of the backstory? I don't want to annoy you, but the Nords are really cool. It's actually the army I play, like for the full army game. These guys I'm painting up as a opposition force to my Nords. But I could talk Conquest lore all day. I think they have really cool, like, unique takes on fantasy as a setting. But I don't ever want to suffocate the conversation just by talking about stuff only I'm interested in. But yes, the hobby drive is real. For sometimes I think gaming really motivates me to paint sometimes. Like if I'm really having trouble getting into, I don't know. Well, Conquest is actually a perfect example. It's kind of been in a dry spell lately. There's not really many folks in the Des Moines area until like just a week and a half ago. A bunch of people were like, "Oh, that does sound interesting." So now I got friends to make. We're gonna come back, and this whole pouty face here is going to be colored differently. I'm enjoying. I don't think it's a game I get into honestly, but I can see myself grabbing some minis. Hey, that's all right. Trying to think of what else. The spires are what would happen if aliens arrived in Tolkien's world. Like literal aliens. What else? 100 Kingdoms are your standard humans, but they have, like, that makes them sound boring. But if you look at their sculpts, if you're looking for, like, alt cavalry, if you do, like, skirmish, or, what am I trying to say? Miniature agnostic kind of games, they're worth checking out. Their take on dwarves is really cool. Essentially, they are artificial creatures created by dragons to be their slaves. So that's why they were made to harvest gold, so the dragons can hoard it. And then at some point they gain sentience, and so they call their faction the Dwegom. But in this fantasy universe, dwarves also exist. Dwarves are just the ones that haven't awakened to themselves yet. So it's, yeah, I don't know. It's cool. It's just they kind of like staked out their own little IP of how we articulate dwarves and carve your own space into it. They got some really fantastic writers over there. At Parabellum, they have they're based out of Greece. Elect man, hey man, how's it going? It is going well. Painting up some Conquest so I can give demos here in a little bit. Forgot I put this one. It's actually my least favorite of the mask heads. I don't know why I put it on. Chubby baby fists. There was one time, the bragging, I was living in Seattle. My buddy was really into the Seahawks. And so for a holiday Christmas gift at one point, I went out and I got the human Blood Bowl team. And I kit bashed a Stormcast hero to be wearing like the football helmet. She was on the back of a cavalry thing. But basically I just picked a model that I know he didn't have and then made it a Seahawks player. He said he loved it, and I don't know. It was one of the most fun things I've had converting, which I think makes Blood Bowl wholly unique amongst mini games in my mind. Of like most of the time, I like serious in-universe things, but like in-universe for Blood Bowl is ridiculousness, right? It's like it's your Coca-Cola themed orcs. It's, you know, I don't know, the never-ending Broncos instead of the Denver Broncos. You have that same color scheme. I love that kind of stuff. But I'd love to know if anyone else is painting. What all are you working on? I see we got some... We know we got some Blood Bowl cooking. Which I don't... I'm so on the fence about. I'm already kind of like biting off a lot this year. I'm already jumping into... Necromunda... More Conquest stuff, I'm sure. What do we got left here? Armor plates up the back. But yes, I'm not going to go kill myself on all the little details of every little rivet in the armor, and like you could go to detailed into every single fiber of this thing. We're just gonna gloss over it, throw a good wash down, brother. We're feeling spicy later. Maybe do a highlight with a dry brush. That's the glory of an army when you know it's a demo army. You just kind of free yourself. This only needs to look good enough to make someone go, I wonder what that's about. That's easy. We could do that. That's an achievable goal. I just realized it's the song Creep But Lo-Fi, and I love that. Yeah, whenever I do live streams here on the channel, I play a Spotify channel called what is it? It's 90s grunge but lo-fi. I think you look it up. Always my fave. Let's see. Yay, Conquest! Heyo! Stimber, your thoughts on the new Yoroni narrative Conquest box. So, on that note, he's actually part of the reason I'm doing this. Is because this is the hero that comes in the 2-player starter, and I like him. He's rad. But I wanted that turtle. If you have not seen it, you can go check out the... well, I guess I have it pulled up here. You find him. I want to show you, because he is truly... If badass were given physical form, it's this dude. So that guy on the left... Oh, hold on, let me move my image, because the chat is right in the way here. That turtle man on the left here with the giant club laying across his shoulder, that is the turtle demon samurai pirate that I was talking about earlier. Here, I'll just hide that. That's better. But yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So this guy was like, in First Blood, the skirmish version, your heroes are free, at least for right now. I don't know what they're going to do in the future. So like, I want this guy leading my force, without question. That's what I'm here for. And so that's kind of what I've been focusing on. Why I'm painting these nerds all up. So, thoughts. I like it. I wanted it for the model. As far as the story goes, if you're curious, so when Parabellum makes a narrative campaign supplement, it's just 2 alternate sculpts of existing hero models. The booklet has a story, and then like 4 to 5 missions. And these can be a mix of missions that any army can play, and some of them are like really specific to a story. But the idea is, if you have, say, a Yoroni player, and in this case, the other army there is Wadroon, which has this character here, which is like a bow hunter. It's pretty cool. You too could just go halvesies on this box, get some cheap alternate sculpts for your heroes that look sweet, and then the whole group, your gaming group, can benefit from the missions and play together and stuff like that. That's kind of their design idea, which I like as a supplement. It means like the boxes are like $50 and everyone can benefit. Only certain people have to buy it. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't feel like you're supplementing the whole game, and it's just a waste of money for everyone who doesn't play those armies. Anyway, so you buy that, and the story inside, I'll give you a quick synopsis. I'm actually just finishing up the lore video for it. I haven't quite finished it, but I got through the setup, which I can give you. And basically, it's just an extrapolation of stuff that's on their website as well, so no spoilers really. But in this setting, orcs exist, and they are an artificial being. Aliens I mentioned before came down, and they were like, we're going to try experimenting with life a little bit here, see what we can put together. And so their completely artificial being that was created to serve them and defend their locations is called the Wadroon. We would call them orcs. The Wadroon essentially broke free of their containment when the aliens were attacked by someone stronger than they could defend against. And so the orcs that were a test subject experiment were got loose, and then we're basically allowed to thrive as a species, and that's how we have orcs in the setting now. Which is the closest thing to a real-life reason of FEV exploding onto the scene in Fallout as you're going to get. No, I think that's a pretty cool setup. The idea here of this box set is that the place where the orcs were founded, kind of their home, which is the wreckage of the lab they were grown in, a bunch of demons are popping up there, and they can't figure out why. As I said before, the models that I'm painting right now are demon manifestations that were kind of mimicked or aped or hijacked from a human belief system and art style. And so that's why they have the influences they do in terms of their appearance. But they keep popping up, and it turns out that some other events going on in the setting have destabilized sort of the veil between realms in some places. Not necessarily everywhere, but some places. And one of those is the charred wreckage remains of this lab that the Woodrune were actually crafted in. So they don't know it, but their home is basically the portal to hell. It was built adjacent to the portal of hell, and they got to figure out how to survive all that. As far as like a reason for forces to fight, I love it. I truly do love it. Because these campaign boxes are wonderful because they're just reasons for forces to interact, right? Which to me is like an underrated thing. A lot of things I think miss that. A lot of game companies have like, right, but why would they be here? These forces don't seem to have anything against one another. And then you realize like, well, foundational to the settings, like these guys can kind of come from anywhere. Everyone's kind of everywhere. Here's some great, story fodder for why these forces might fight. I love that kind of stuff. Also have to say thank you, because if it wasn't for your videos, I would have never gotten into AOS, and now finishing a Soulblight army and thinking of starting Seraphon. Oh, buddy, my next week is not going to be good for you, mon frere. I'm doing a 2 hour... not 2 hour, a 1 hour, sorry. Seraphon video for getting them caught up in the 4th edition. But thank you so much for the kind words. That means a lot to me. Nice. I'm still off the hobby train for the most part, but a friend got me into Magic the Gathering. Okay. Hey, that's rad. I was actually talking to a buddy about Magic the other night. We were hanging out waiting for some other games to start. And I was like, do you play Magic? He's like, I like the game, but I can't imagine keeping up on another hobby as we're like setting up for Warhammer and stuff. It's like, brother, I feel that. I feel that so much right now. And I kind of feel the same way. Like, I have Magic, I think... I don't have it downloaded right now, but I used to have Magic Online, like the video game version, because I like the game. Like, I do find it to be a fun game engine. I can't keep up with, like, the pack releases and... yeah. All that stuff just sucks my will to live. I've also never been terribly good at deck building games, just in general. My eyes kind of glaze over. Like, I can handle like an army roster, right? Go pull up the GW page or the Parabellum page, and you can see what's available to you. And then you can learn some outside cases like mercenaries or whatever, depending on the game system. But when it's just like, here's 524 cards to choose from, go forth, nerd. It's like, oh man, that's tough for me. Actually sounds good. Don't get me excited like that. Absolutely. Well, that's why I pivoted to the longer ones, right? I think it's come clear that most of my audience is hanging out painting, so I think that's just more conducive to it. So that's what we're going to do. Doing the long form compilations that are also going to help me kind of clean up my backlist. Happy Thursday. Hey, hey. It's currently filling the void where miniature gaming used to be after 4th edition kind of threw my interest into torpor. Yeah. A lot of folks that way. I was feeling that way, and then, I personally have really, really enjoyed Heresy. That's kind of been where a lot of my gaming energy has been as of late. We are very fortunate to have a killer Heresy scene with some wonderful people here in the greater Des Moines area. And then with my Black Legion acquisition, I'm hoping I can do some of that as well. Again, just for the social aspect. I'm not a big gamer. But sometimes it's just nice to get out, be around humans, I guess. I'm told. I just bought my first Heresy minis. Looking forward to digging into them. Sweet! Oh, I missed one. Picking up some Con Charioteers for Middle Earth right now. Oh, sweet! I played a demo of Middle Earth with my buddy Jeremy, and I had a great time. We kind of just got sidetracked and never really did the startup campaign. But I remember distinctly liking the gameplay, and he had some really great points about it feels like every little fight contributes to the greater story, and I was like, that's a really interesting. I don't know. It has a great back and forth gameplay. I feel like it's just a cool, continuous fight, and I love it. It's like one of those war games that makes you pop out and be like, you know what? I like not just the gameplay, but the perspective that this game puts me, the player, in. I've always liked that about Infinity, where you're choosing which character to activate, and it is essentially the same as deciding which character in a movie the video camera is going to settle on, because it's only ever going to settle on one thing, right? And everybody's reacting to that thing. But I always found that to be such an intriguing idea. Been telling myself that for the past 6 to 8 months. I really should get I know. Well, that's also my issue. Yeah. No, that's a do as I say, not as I do statement, if there ever was one. I'm trying. It is a therapy goal to be get out once a week, engage with the human populace. Do not add or subtract from the population. If you feel like you will, return home. Middle Earth is the best combat system GW has made. If you like shooting, it's not the right... Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I just feel like if you like archery, Lord of the Rings is not the... Because even Legolas, who was admittedly the most badass archer, he doesn't solve every problem with it. I wouldn't say if someone's I love archery, go watch Lord of the Rings necessarily. Felt. Let's see. Yeah, I haven't had a game since June. I'm trying to think of the last game I played. I think it was definitely Heresy. I think on next Tuesday I'm going to get a demo of Malifaux with a very nice gentleman, and I'm going to teach him Conquest. He's going to teach me Malifaux. little cultural exchange there amongst the nerds. Throwing down some Retributor gold. Just now that I think about it, I'm not sure what I'm doing. I have the Duncan 2 thin coats gold. I should switch to that. I want to use up all my... I have a lot of GW paints that I've found other equivalents that I kind of like more for specific colors. And let's see, I'm just going to paint over. Ignore the black part. That was just there for testing. My last game was in August because at least brother to go local GT in my area. Oh, nice. Yeah, GTs can be super fun. I'm not going to be able to go to Adepticon this year, which is a real bummer for me. But I am going to... My wife was like, but I would love to do more like Midwest ones because she can travel with me and we could just stay at the hotel for like, you know, a night or two or something like that, a little more easy than the whole week that Adepticon seems to be. And so I said, absolutely. So I've been looking around. So if you have events in, you know, Midwest, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Nebraska, maybe Missouri. That one might be a tougher sell to my wife, but, you know, we could try. I actually just got some Euroni. Sweet Admiral Akbar. I love it. I think that they are an amazingly fun paint. I'm having a blast just because all the models are so chunky. Demon Thick Boy. Let's see. Nathan, any advice on how to ease into my first game of Spearhead with a friend or fiance who haven't the faintest clue about Warhammer? And I also haven't played either, unfortunately. You know, one of the things that I have done is just go to, like, if you go to a local game night and have them walk you through setting up a game, like play the game, and then kind of walk through whatever. If you are the first person in your group who's getting into it, like there's no local stores you can go to ask questions. Sorry. I would say just watch some videos online, make sure you get comfortable. Once the game gets going, I honestly think a lot of it kind of speaks for itself. So you could just make a little checklist. I actually have a pre-flight checklist is what I call it for my armies. So like when I'm playing my Stormcast, right? Get to the table. Decide which units are going to be on the board. Put this off to the side. Get your whatever tracker if you have an army that has to track some BS. So, like, you know, kind of get your little setup ritual kind of nailed down, and I think that'll kind of help make things go a little faster. Because I feel like once the game gets going, most of it's pretty straightforward, I feel. As far as other advice, I would say definitely learn the rules of both factions if you are the one giving the demo. Because, you know, even if you don't have the right answer, just being able to give a answer and then you can research later. Do whatever. Sir Stroming Fish. Missouri, the show me state, as in show me what is there to do here. Yeah, basically. I jest. We have my brother-in-law's over there, so we would probably go just to see my nephew. But my mother-in-law, I don't know what Iowa propaganda she was raised on. She like does not like Missouri whatsoever. I'm constantly reminding her, like, you know, you have a son there. Like he lives there. He's lived there for years. He's Missourian. I don't know what to tell you. She's like, I know. Well, I don't like it. Okay. But I was actually raised in Jersey, where all the East Coast states hate each other. So I kind of get it. You know, it's not foreign to me. It's more just... Oh, you're more serious about that than I thought you were. Okay. Okay, cool. Expectations adjusted. If I actually lived there, I'd say something, but I live in the Northeast. Eh. Look, man, I'm not gonna have my Discord open while I'm streaming here, but you can send whatever you like. You can check it out later. Bum, 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 bum. And here we go. I like it. He's coming together. I'm gonna have the teeth and stuff are like a stark white, so that his whole self looks like a giant mask. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Okay, got that. I like him. Creepy baby face, man. Okay, got that done. I think I'm gonna have his tabard, because they don't all actually have tabards on. I think I'm gonna have his be white, because it'll match the daimyos. Okay, so let's go. Let's go with the charcoal here. Every time I try to boot up Discord on this computer while I'm doing a live stream, we have a total system collapse. I can do it on my laptop, but unfortunately I didn't think to bring it in. Let's see, got... Oh wait, I missed part of the nose. Let's get that real quick while I still have some gold. And I'm just gonna put a little black strap down for the shoulder pads. And that way we can go over it with a lighter color here and make it pop. My tip for anyone, though, if you're painting black, is never paint true black. Get you some charcoal, and then you can use washes to make real dark corners. But it still reads as black. All right. Yeah. Actually, I was thinking about there's kind of these like fabrics right at the elbow joint on a few of them, not all of them. I was unsure what to do, but I actually think black would frame it quite nicely. Big fan of Payne's Gray in place of black as well. Ooh, yes. Yes, that is one of my things I wish I knew earlier. The Confucian wisdom of, I want to paint black. Don't use black then. Whoa. Oh, you know what? I want to have them have black hair as well, so I'm going to just going to darken his melon. Give him the demon man bun. Babafus. What? Who makes Payne's Green? That's not GW, is it? It sounds too normal. It's not somebody's name and it doesn't involve the word blood, so. It's crazy how much better black looks when you don't use black. Exactly. The first time I heard that, I definitely had like the Lightning McQueen reaction to being told like to turn left going fast, you have to turn right kind of a thing because he didn't understand drifting. Yeah, right, you idiot. Let's see. Have you seen AOS is getting a secret level episode? If so, what do you want it to be about? Yeah, so I did hear about that. If you don't know, Secret Level is sort of an animation project show that is on Amazon Prime. And there was a 40K one that was like really, really big because it was essentially a visual, handshake and or business card to introduce 40K to a whole bunch of people in the comfort of their home. They don't have to go to a game store to learn it. They were shown pretty clearly what a Space Marine is and how badass they are and why you would want them to win. So we're getting one for AOS. As far as what I would want it to be personally, if they were like, Doug, you're in charge of this project. What do you think is going to get butts in seats when it comes to AOS, right? What's going to get people so stoked about this animation that they're going to go out and be like, give me some. My idea was just turn the book Gloomspite into a 25 to 30-minute cartoon. Show people what happens when the bad moon comes above your city, and you can have all the cool Stormcast and all the cool everything trying to fight it. Now, it's a great way to show off junk. But man, there is something celestially heinous about that. And it's just because you want to show off the heroism. I like the idea of hordes, whether it's Skaven or Gloomspite, to show off kind of a microcosm of how desperate the forces of order are. I think that would be a good idea. But I would literally just do Gloomspite, the cartoon. I'm trying to think of what else that I could possibly do that would be as, I think, effective. Cities of Sigmar is way cooler as a faction than Stormcast. That's a matter of taste. I like Stormcast. I do tend to like the Sigmar Cities stories more. But my idea is one that you could have literally any force of order. It's just you can rewrite the story to have Seraphon there just hanging, chilling. You can use that as an opportunity to introduce other factions, and I think showing off in particular a horde army for the sheer spectacle and drama of it, as well as somewhere in there, they're going to have Stormcast. And I'd like it if they also made a point to do Sylvaneth. Just because I feel like so many people really, really resonated with that particular visual theme. What about Slaves to Darkness versus Cities from D? Oh, that'd be cool. I mean, I think... Yeah, I think that would be really cool. I'm trying to think of what I think they actually would do. And I can't see them doing that. That's pretty ambitious for a first thing that's supposed to be out there to introduce people. Not that it can't happen. And it is certainly a cool idea. I'm not dousing on it at all. Unsure. I feel like it always comes down to okay, it's not a matter of what would actually work. It's what is some too old to be doing this studio executive think will work. That's what we're going to get. Right? Because it's never we know how reboots go. We're nerds. We understand. There's a bottom line. This is the same company that thought that shutting down all North American sales was a good thing on their website. Reverse that at some point. What about... So your Slaves to Darkness idea. I do like it. Let's see. I'm trying to imagine how I would frame that story. I think I would have it framed as flashbacks of the titular character. Maybe they're narrating their own story. And the part that they narrate is how Sigmar abandoned them in the Age of Myth. I think that could be a very compelling thing. Probably Stormcast and Skaven if I had to guess. That's a safe bet. It really is. Or if they've already decided what the next launch box is going to be for the next edition. Future-proof this. So it's going to be a combination that really just perplexes everybody. Why in the ever-loving heck? Other narrative ideas I would be super into. Caradron Overlord treasure hunting party gets ambushed by ghosts. Yeah, I missed a little bit of his arm bit. Yeah. They could also, I mean, another novel that is really great, just as its own story and could totally be, would be Dominion by Darius Hanks. It's a great linear story. You're trying to get from point A to point B. You get to discover the horror of the Cruel Boys with the Stormcast. That's a great setup for introducing new folks. That's always, I think, kind of the goal is like, you got to be cognizant of what you're actually showing people about your universe, right? The KO idea would be sick. Oh, thank you. I would like that. Dominion's cool because it has a nice like ending, like the trailer for the old Dawn of War game where like the guy, slams the banner into the dirt and it's really epic and you makes you like, whoa, snap, Like, Dominion to me has that same feeling at the end where it's just like, we got here, we conquered the hill, we did it, and it makes you feel like that. So that's kind of why I voted that way. I feel like KO or Sylvaneth would have a ton of appeal to people unfamiliar with the setting. There's nothing like those in other fantasy settings. I agree, and that's actually one of the reasons I mentioned Sylvaneth in particular. Is I feel like it's a strong foot forward, Because what I would like is, a simple, easy to follow story where you can follow it visually. So that's why I pick out enemies like Gloomspite. Skaven's a great pool, because you don't need to know anything to know that those guys, you don't want them all over you. Right? There's no fantasy setting in which those guys seem like the good guys. So run. What I'd like to see is definitely Stormcast, perhaps a Liberator, Night Quest, or even Lord Celestin fighting some enemy army. They meet the human cities, ranks and bonds. They take down enemy leader. Yeah. I'm here for it. I think ideally I would love it if it was a City of Sigmar story, but mixed in there, as there are in all the stories, like the actual Black Library novels, there's like a Lord Imperatant or Questor, someone who's basically like their job is to organize the defense of these humans and stand with them and make sure nothing falls. Because I want the visuals to sell how rare the Stormcasts are as well, right? I mean, we can have debates about whether or not they're the best heroes of the setting or whatever, but ultimately they are supposed to be fewer in number and rare. So like I want that as well to be conveyed. Night Questor would be great to add in the Stormcast for the episode. Yeah, I mean, oh, heck yeah. And then they could give it the tightest treatment, put it on the face of everything from video games to Kellogg's cereal, like he's getting. Introducing this year's Ultramarine character that you're totally not tired of. Titus is cool. He's a cool character. I'm being facetious. I love to paint with this color. This is like, I don't know, some kind of sand color from Vallejo. And then I'll paint everything this color and then go back over with contrast and pick out the browns with different shades to make them pop more. But this is just a wonderful warm base that takes to contrast very well. And lately that's been my favorite way of painting, doing either a base color and then contrast over it, or basing with contrast and then doing a layer paint over it so it doesn't look quite as washed out. But I have not... I don't know. I like doing both. Maybe Black Talon. Oh, yeah, forget about Black Talon. That would make a lot of sense. That would be incredible if they were like... The deal that they were talking about was just securing the spot and they just played an episode that was already made of Black Talon. That would be actually pretty... I'd be like, alright. They're just having fun with us at this point. Is there even a real Henry Cavill? Is that show being made? Is he a myth? Although, I don't know how I feel about that. I'm excited for, you know, the Cavill take on 40K. I love that the IP is getting out there more. I think it totally deserves it. My other thought is, I'm a desperately huge Fallout fan, and I watch lore nerds shred these shows who have done nothing but bring in whole new hordes of fans to Fallout. I'm like, cool. Who's gonna mess this up? Someone's gonna be a real dick when everybody starts rolling in. That's just, you know, where my brain goes as an internet person. Who's gonna mess this up? I dare you. But this isn't the Eisenhorn I wanted, or whatever they're doing, I don't know. Be like, no, it's not the Eisenhorn that you read when you were 12. You know, I mean, and some people are just really not okay with liberties being taken with their media. I, for one, absolutely am. Whenever I go to a movie that's based on a book, I assume the movie exists in a vacuum. Kind of like how different seasons of comics will have different writers and artists, and they'll kind of like, there's all different kinds of Batman kind of a thing. Like, that's kind of how I view movies. Or I should say adaptations. That's probably a bit more accurate. All right, this guy wants to do something Hitchhikers of the Guide to the Galaxy-ish. Would I have chosen those actors? Some of them. Others not. But show me what you got. Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if GW did that. Neve is the tightest. It's true, yes. I haven't actually watched too many of the Black Talons because for the longest time I didn't know. I just learned this this morning, actually, that there is a Warhammer TV app. I thought it was just I had to pull up my laptop, and I almost never do that when I'm hobbying. I always have like a podcast. Lately, I've been binging Adeptus Ridiculous, but just a podcast playing in the background. Wait, there's Warhammer TV app? I don't know. I saw it this morning when I pulled up my phone. I was like, oh yeah, I think there's like a card. I was actually looking for the Legion or Heresy era card game or whatever, and I was like, oh yeah, I could use that. I had some time to kill. I wanted to waste some time. So I typed in Warhammer into the App Store, and it was just there, and I was like, son of a gun! Haven't downloaded it, haven't tried it, can't report on it. But I just feel like for all the news blasting they do, I feel like it shouldn't be a mystery that this exists. Yeah, there's a bunch of them on the App Store. Dang. So yeah, we all learned something valuable today. I'm glad I could share. This is GW shooting themselves with their own 24-hour news cycle, right? You say so much all the time, and you release so many things, and you're always in the news that when something big actually happens, nobody hears it. I mean, obviously some did. Y'all help me out, but you know what I mean. Stuff gets missed. Like I said, for these, we're going to come back with some different browns and contrast and paint them up. So that way the belt will have a little different color than the other types of fabric in there. I think for you, let's see, other stuff I've been consuming. We are a Love Island household, my wife has informed me. So that's our trash TV of the moment. Beyond that, not much. I guess I feel like, I don't know if anyone else feels this way. Lately, I just feel like I've not had the attention span for movies. And maybe it's just all the crap going on in the world. I don't know. Even just to put them on in the background, I'm like, it's just noise. Honestly, I'd love a Go Trick episode for Secret Level. Oh, that's a really good idea. I hadn't even considered that, but that's one of those ones I'm curious as to, like, what their thought process. Like, if they want to use Secret Level as a chance to, you know, recall out to former hobbyists, that's a great idea, actually. They've certainly invested enough money into Go Trick as a character. Is Brian Blessed still around? I suppose I should ask, is he still around and is he doing things? I did that by accident. I started painting what I thought was something else, and it turned out to be the shoe I painted a second ago. Bummer. On that note, I could see Callus and Toll. Callus and Toll would be another great one. That would be a great one because that would kind of introduce like a mystery element, which I think would only benefit you when you are introducing a new intellectual property. Like, it's only a good thing. It's good. Because you get people to explore in real time with your characters. Have I been getting Conquest games in lately? No, I have not, unfortunately, but I just found out recently in the last week or so that there are some guys locally who are interested. And so I've been very excited. In one of my lore videos, I think it was for the Weaver Courts, I put a shout out that was like, hey, I heard that there was someone playing Conquest locally in Des Moines area. If this is you, contact me, get on my Discord. And they did. And I was like, yay! Friend achieved. So, no, but I am hoping with the redo to First Blood that I can. Because I do feel like we have a group of players in our area who would really like it if they were interested in giving it a chance. Although one guy had a very intense emotional reaction to the idea of sixes being bad. He was like, no, that just doesn't work, man. Like, okay. Much like age, it is just a number, and you seem to care a lot about that number, so that's all right. Those people are so funny to me. When is the next lore video? So I recorded the Seraphon for Age of Sigmar lore video, and I just need to edit that. It'll take a little bit of time because it is, at least before editing, over an hour long. And then beyond that, I have most of the newest Conquest campaign book done. That should be also this week. I just need to do some final edits on some of the mission stuff, like the recaps of how they all fates are sealed and stuff like that. Now, so yes, when is the Nook Store video? Coming this week, and then I'm probably going to throw one more compilation in there just to kind of round out the week a bit. Because people seem to be enjoying them, and they're part of my scheme for what to do next with the channel. Hey now, rolling double sixes is supposed to be a good thing. Let's see. What is your take on the last two Go Trek books? I will be perfectly honest. I'm not the biggest Go Trek fan. It took me like a year and a half to be peer pressured into doing a lore video on him. I think I came in too late to get Go Trek pilled. Like, I just don't have a connection to the character or the stories. I haven't read a single Go Trek and Felix book. I have no doubt that they're awesome. I just have a lot to read. And that seems to be the general consensus, is like, okay, they brought him here, but there's not always an idea of where they want the character to go. Which I can't comment on because I haven't, like I said, I haven't read them. I'm not going to, but, or not that I'm not going to, they're not on my docket right now. Mm-hmm. And I'm laying down, this is Bright Warm Gray by Pro Acryl, and I absolutely love it because it is a great way to set up white. Like, it's a great highly pigmented base that you can add like a pure white afterwards, and it just looks fantastic. Got him. Your quote, not going to anytime soon. Is that accurate? Oh, as far as reading Go Trek books? I have nothing against them. If something came out where they were like, you know, hey, this is a campaign book, it features Go Trek, but to understand it, you'll probably want to read XYZ. Yeah, I would do it. Like, I have no aversion to it. It's not like I'm complaining, but it's not high on my priority list. Compared to, say, like, I'm in a desperate catch-up to try and get caught up with the Heresy. Because that's like a bajillion books. Noise. They're coming along nicely. Reading the Mark of Calth right now, actually. Sweet. Mark of Calth. I gotta read Calth. Okay, Calth. Yes. I'm sorry. It took me a second. Sometimes their names get jumbled. The thing that first got me interested in Heresy as just a setting was many moons ago. There, well, he's still going, but it canceled and came back. There was a podcast called The Independent Characters, and they would buy the great big coffee table sized campaign books that Heresy used to come in and go through it like it was an English textbook. And they would condense it, of course, but like for the most part, they would go through the details of the story. And the Betrayal at Calth, I think it was the book Tempest was the name of the OG campaign book that had that story in it, but that was absolutely one of my favorites. I cannot express to you how much that story meant to me, because it was the first time I saw like what Black Library was capable of. So you have a campaign book, I think called Horus Heresy blah, 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 Tempest, and then you had, which is about the event of the Betrayal at Calth. But then there was also like a bunch of short stories and a few full novels that were set about the same event. And so it was kind of like, I remember it standing out because it was so cool to read. Because it was the kind of the same thing as reading like about World War II from a history book versus World War II from a soldier's memoirs. Like you follow a story in this grander story, right? I mean, a war is just a million little story tragedies happening. And so, yeah, I don't know. It just really captivated me when I saw the campaign book, and then they were talking about how, oh yeah, these stories are a part of that. And, you know, they give a nod to a character here or there, but it's not required reading. I was like, oh, that's incredible. That's an incredible way to do like campaign stuff. I get lazy and listening to audiobooks. Oh, I do too. That's mostly how I consume stuff nowadays. I rarely have the time to just sit, but I boot up everything on my player and just chill out. It's still reading. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You took the time to listen to the thing. Oh, that's right, his hair. Love the Heresy so much. So many amazing characters, but of course half of them don't make it into 40k. Oh, of course. I mean, by definition, yeah. Yes, but I love when someone explained to me of like, I was like, you know, but it's just Space Marines, right? That's all it is just Space Marines. And they're like, yeah, no. It's Civil War, bro. And like that's kind of the perspective as they were approaching it, was like, it's space Civil War. It's not necessarily sci-fi in the same way that like 40k is sci-fi. They're both space fantasy, but it's different. And I always like that description. Okay, a few more odds and ends to paint up here. Oop. Chunky boy be dropping. He's missing a elbow. Let's see. If I played Ultramarines, I would have a guy named Mark and give him Mark of Calth. Yes. But yes, I also adore Heresy. Love the stories. I love the roster of characters. Always want more Sons of Horus content, but they only give us so much. They give us a trickle. Someone asked me the other day if I... You know, that hypothetical of like, if everything was lost in a fire, but, you know, insurance replaced it all, so you had to start all over again kind of a question. what army would you do? And I think I would go probably with word bearers if I had to do it all over again. Because at this point, now that I am in the hobby and I understand how the different units and stuff go together, I feel like what you're really choosing when you choose your Legion is what specialty troops you want. And I like theirs. I like the Galvorback. I like so much of their stuff. It's all so gnarly. Okay. Out of the heresy books you've read... Oh, wait, I missed them. The Den Kong. Part of the reason I picked up Uroni was absolutely how chunky these guys are all the army. Yes, exactly. I was commenting on that earlier. Dan Kong, I'll show you. I'm painting these up so I can give First Blood demos for our group. So I got the Daimyo, and I think he's an Oni or something like that. So this is what I'm working towards. I have enough Nords to take over North America. But I don't have much in the way of an opposition to them, so I need something for demos. So let me just grab here Wildwood, Gorgrunta, and Snakebite. So I went over all those straps with kind of a boring flat tan, so now we're going to go over them again with some browns to kind of add a little depth here. Okay, so with that said, out of the Heresy books, what Legion is my favorite? You know, which one's my favorite? I promise I'm not dodging your question. I'm just giving it a lot of thought. I think certainly the ones that took me by surprise that I did not think I would like, but I turned out to really love, was the World Eaters. The Angron doesn't have a ton of books about him. It starts and ends at Betrayer. But it is such a good read. Like, I just did not expect to like them as much as I did. As far as, you know, other really important singular books to me, I'm trying to go through. Fly of the Eisenstein is one of my favorite books, but it's not a linear story in the way that you're talking about, like a Legion, right? It's always just Garo escaping. Yeah, I might have to go Word Bearers again, just by the Calth books are so good. Betrayer changed my mind about Angeron. Exactly. Yeah, no, I distinctly remember putting that book, well, putting it down, quote unquote. I was audiobooking it, but just like stopping it and being like, I don't know if I've ever read a book that fundamentally made me change my mind about a character as much. In a good way. I mean, of course, in a good way. I was very interested by my reaction to that. That's the big one. I mean, in terms of like big feelings about things, that's the big one. I feel like a lot of the best parts of like the stories for the Legions don't necessarily happen in pages of books. More conceptual, like, you know, like a Borgar's upbringing as a concept instead of like a narrative, whatever. Trying to remember other ones that were really influential. I'm terrible at the book names. Oh, you know what? Shoot, it might just be called Legion, the Alpha Legion one. I know that was not everyone's cup of tea. I loved that book. Where you just get to see from what it looks like from just a guardsman level of what recruitment looks like. Like, oh, it was good. What else? Because like some of them I think are important, like they're good reads, like Fulgrim, for example. Classic, good read, love the story. It didn't make me want to play Emperor's Children more in the same way that, like, for example, we were talking about Angron. I'm like, yeah, I definitely like thought about a World Eater's army. Yeah. Because I have a soul. And that's always my measure of success. Now, as far as factions that have absolutely repelled me from an army, let's talk about Dark Angels. I could not stand those books. At all. The Descent of Angels and whatever the other one was. Did not like them. They did not resonate. I just missed it. Legion was pretty good. The Marine stuff was my least favorite bits in that one. Absolutely. But I what a great way to make me, to talk about. I just started Betrayer, please don't spoil. Oh, no. I won't. Enjoy it. The Dark Angel books made me hate Lion. You know what it was? It was because I felt keenly interested in the universe of Caliban, but I did not feel like the writer was, and it was just like, it's like they took an AOS book like Cities of Sigmar and co-opted it for heresy, is kind of how I felt, because there's kind of like a steampunk technology. Marines don't even feature in the first book, like the... If that's a spoiler, I'll go ahead and pull that one off. It's just the Lion. I don't know. It just... My wife, who is an indie author, would say that the book did not meet writer expectations. Let's see. Hope to see some Heresy content coming. I got 5K mega event. Ooh, nice. Yeah, I've just kind of been in a little bit of a rut with Heresy in terms of, like, I don't know what to talk about. For some reason I had a bunch of ideas when the edition launched, and then my brain was just like, ideas? Never heard of them. Okay, he's done. What's a Magickin list you're looking forward to running, and what tactics do you think will be best with Magickin? Well, what am I looking to do personally? I am looking forward to Rot Sword Wall. I will be honest, I don't have any big plans right now for my Magickin, other than just getting them painted. Because I am also someone who likes to wait and see kind of what the vibe check is on a few units before I go out and start making purchases. I know a lot of folks are just popping Blight Kings onto smaller stands to use them as rot swords, which I love that idea. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any specific builds in mind. I just want to find a way to get stuck in and not die. That is, when I play Nurgle, that is the only goal. I want you, my opponent, to have so much to chew through that you're just like throwing up your arms. It's a little bit harder to do in this particular edition of AOS when stuff is so killy. I mean, it is so killy. That's generally the game plan. I'm probably going to feature Glotkin. He's just a great force multiplier. Probably no other named characters. Glotkin, I mean, I have the model. I love him. But I don't see myself going out of my way to get others. I don't really have an interest in the demon part of the book. Doesn't seem like Games Workshop did either. Yeah, that's my big thoughts. I love it. I really do love the immortal side of things. Always have. Let's see. It's because they have to get along to the big deal. We got Wildwood, one more brown. Sort of a line of a fabric weave in here. I'm just going to pick that out. Kind of break up the torso a little bit here. This is always the problem with batch painting, is you're looking at it and you're like, I know I'm missing something, and once I put this mini down, it's out of sight, out of mind. That's when I'll see, oh yeah, I forgot the left side of his belt or something like that. Something stupid. Okay, I'm feeling pretty good about these guys. Funnily enough, painting my Death Rattle skeletons, I got 10 done only to realize I forgot specifically belt buckles. Yep. Yep. My thing is, I'll pick up a model in a unit, right? And I'll pull all the paints out I need to paint that model. But if there's a single deviation in everything else, I miss it. So, if this guy has say a pistol holster, but the model I grabbed when I was painting up the scheme didn't have that, I will go right past it as if it does not exist. So it's gotta be real loud and proud. My trick is to pretend I'm done for a minute and then go back and magically the forgotten parts show themselves. Exactly right, yep. Orti, Belga. Oh, okay, sorry, the characters. Rot Swords, Plague Bear, 2 Bestigors, plus Sloven Knights and Drones. 214 wounds with 2 trees, keeping them at a 5 whip ward. That is gross. Are those Pestigors reinforced? Plus, Emerald Life Swarm. Oh yeah, that's a great little on topper. I really struggle with getting into endless spells. I'm just throwing a dark purple down, and I'll go back over with like a lighter purple and a pink or maybe or something like that to make these little... He's got like gems around his wrist, like a rosary almost looking thing. But this will give me a good base to paint up from. Looking for others. Gem or gem accessories. Looks like that's a big one. All right, friends. I've been painting for a bit. We got a lot done on these guys. I think I'm going to go ahead and hop off. Get to cracking on those lore videos for you, as you've been asking. But thank you so much for hobbying. Be kind to yourselves. It's a crazy world out there. I've been painting these guys up to be playing some First Blood. I hope that you're also excited for First Blood whenever it drops for Conquest. And yeah, next up we'll be painting my favorite of the units I actually have, which is the Bird Boys. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll catch you real soon. Happy wargaming, friends, and have yourselves a wonderful day.